Welcome to Dynamic Thriving Audio Blog, where we're very spiritual with a good dose of practicality in support of your life transformation. This is your host, Mary Ann Pack, spiritual medium, oracle for the many, and joy advocate. Today's audio blog is entitled, How to Determine the Difference Between Responsible and Inspired Action. Is there a difference in the kind of action we take? We do stuff all day, every day, and sometimes it feels good and at other times it just drags us down. We dread doing some things, and for other things, we can't wait to do it or do it again. Guess what? Action is energy. How an action feels is an indication of what energy we are in when we do all the things. When we have stuff we must do or feel it's a responsibility to do, yet don't really want to do those things, we are in a very heavy doing energy. But when we do things we love or do that we love to do or we take enjoyment in, we are in the lightness of being energy. How can we do something and be in a being energy of inspiration? The being energy of doing something is because we are connected to our source energy and possibly we're inspired to do it. Whatever we are doing, it is in our genius zone or aligned with our inner source. To be an inspired action is to be in the spirit action. That's being all the way. That simply means that we are aligned with what our soul loves to do and especially be. You know the feeling of doing something that just lights you up. It's something you love doing. You lose track of time. You can't wipe that smile off your face. You don't want it to end. You can't wait to do it again and again. That's inspired action. That's in the spirit action. Other times we have things we have to do. It's those things that make us responsible human beings. The things that we face with dread or even procrastinate doing. Yeah, that's the kind of things we really dislike doing. This is the doing energy for the sake of doing. We know it needs to get done, but come on. We just don't want to do it. So how do we get more inspired action and feel better about our responsible actions we need to do? We have to shift the energy. Well, that's all fine and well, but I can't see how that will make any difference. There's stuff I love doing and shit I hate doing. That's just the facts. I get it. It's difficult to do stuff we are responsible for doing. People depend on us. We can't neglect certain chores or caring for our loved ones, nor would we want to, but we can shift the energy in which we fulfill our responsible action. We can shift our perspective that will give us more inspiration while doing those things. Here are a few tips to shift the energy into more light being energy. Number 1, sit with what you must do. If you have a big to-do list, do a Swiss cheese process. On a large sheet of paper, draw circles all over the paper, just large enough to enter the small chunked down tasks. Example, if I need to post a podcast episode that I just recorded, there are many smaller steps to doing that. These are definitely not my favorite things to do. I love the interviews and all my guests, but the tech stuff, not so much. So I put inside the different circles things like convert MP4 to MP3, upload MP3 to Podbean, my podcast distribution platform, write description, schedule, upload video to YouTube because I use the video portion on my YouTube channel, write description, schedule. You get the idea. You break one large project into smaller tasks. Once you've completed one task, color in the circle with a highlighter. Celebrate one task down. It gives you some momentum in fulfilling that responsibility. It will give you the encouragement you need as you color in all those circles on the page with great satisfaction. And it could be a great way to delegate a task to a child or a teen or a workmate. Number 2, make a game of the responsibility task. Set a timer and see how quickly you can finish. Do a little happy dance when you complete the task. It's really okay and highly recommended to give yourself a pat on the back. Engage a child to help fold laundry or other simple tasks. Or your teen. See how many songs it takes to complete the task. If you're focusing on counting the songs and enjoying them, you'll distract yourself from the heavy doing energy. Poof! You're back into inspired action. Number 3, start looking for things you can appreciate about doing the responsible action. Example, doing the dishes. Ugh, not a fan here. I begin by thanking the universe that I have these dirty dishes because those dishes have held yummy food that nourishes my family. We aren't going hungry. We are abundant to have this food. Yay, us! Another example, laundry. Another ugh duty. Again, I try to think of the abundance of clothing that we possess, the abundance of choices we get to make as we pick out the clothes we wear. We don't have to wear the same thing for a week because that's all the clothing we have. And I'm not washing our clothes at a creek and hanging them out to dry on the rocks. I have a beautiful washer and dryer, so I can put them in and walk away while the appliance does all the work. Dirty clothes also means we're living and breathing. Dead folks don't need clothes. I listen to uplifting podcasts when I am in the kitchen doing stuff or folding laundry, and it usually makes the time go by so much faster and way more pleasant. Sometimes it goes by so much faster that I don't even get finished with the podcast before I'm done. This goes for work tasks too. If you are responsible for something at work that you don't like doing, figure out a way to make it a game. Swiss cheese it, or find something, anything to appreciate about it, or simply that it feels good to know that you fulfilled the task. And you have a freaking job that many people don't have. Completion is the time to celebrate. Even if it's, whew, that one's done and I lived. Sometimes responsible actions can be or need to be shared or delegated. If you are taking on tasks that should not be your responsibility and you are simply doing it to be a people pleaser, then you may want to let that go and install some self-loving boundaries. It may be time to delegate some of those responsibilities or enlist help in doing them. I love the old saying, many hands make light work. You have someone to share the load with. You get to visit while you're doing the thing, maybe even have a laugh or two, and it takes less time. If you keep doing things that you don't like and expect to be rewarded or acknowledged or validated by others, you're going about it all wrong. If you're doing a responsible action in that attitude, you will be sorely disappointed. That disappointment will create resentment. Extended or excessive resentment creates havoc in your physical body. I know, I've lived it. I still catch myself in low energy, heavy doing energy of responsible actions. I bitch and complain under my breath. I have an entire conversation with the people I'm doing it for who created the pile of dishes or mound of laundry, telling them exactly how I feel about the mess they created for me. All this does is make me tense. I get a knot in my stomach and I'm angry. Oh, wow, Marianne, that really showed them. When I notice what I'm doing, I take a breath and recenter myself. I think to myself, I don't need to feel this way, nor do I want to carry this unnecessary resentment in my spirit and my body. I say, all is well. It's my favorite mantra. And I refocus on better feeling thoughts about our abundance. Or I go get my phone and listen to a podcast or listen to music. Voila! I'm back to feeling better, and I'm back in my inspired, in the spirit action of being energy. My heart is light and I move quickly through the task at hand. Sometimes I also realize when I'm doing something that I've taken on as my responsibility that it really needs to be delegated. I have to have that conversation with the person or persons who need to be doing the thing. That's tough for me since I've grown up fully trained and qualified to be a people pleaser, and also someone who wasn't allowed to speak up for myself because of my religious indoctrinated beliefs trauma. I find it especially difficult to ask for help or ask for what I want. So this has been my biggest energy challenge to shift, which I am getting better at it all the time. Yay me. As it happens, the person I ask for help from or ask to actually do the thing I've unnecessarily taken on as my responsibility ends up having just not known I needed help. What? They're not mind readers? They didn't hear that long conversation I had with them in my head, telling them off? Or they simply forgot to do the thing. All my tension about asking for help or to delegate was for naught. Well, that was easy peasy. There's one more kind of inspired action that's super fun. When we are tuned in, tapped in, and turned on to our inner being, our inner source, we will get all abuzz with amazing new ideas of things we want to do. These inspired actions come when we are being in the spirit. This means we are so aligned and feeling good with the energy frequency of source flowing through our minds and bodies, we will be in the receptive mode. We will be open channels and ready to receive these inspired thoughts and action ideas. People love doing things. We live in this physical world with all kinds of amazing physical activities to enjoy. We love mixing it up with others and creating new stuff. We want to enjoy life to the fullest and do all the things we love to do. It takes practice getting into a high vibe energy of source. It's like anything we want to improve. We have to spend time doing it. It's a relationship we are developing with our inner selves. Sure, it can take a while, but when we do vibe, watch out because we are going to be busy as F and have a blast all the way. So if you've been fighting against or pushing against those responsible actions, it's time to follow the tips above. You know you want to feel good. And if you're in a doing energy of responsibility, your energy is in the tank. You are going to develop resentment toward yourself for not finding another way to feel better about it, resentment toward the person or persons you're serving, and your body's going to feel and respond to every single negative energy vibe. It will break down into dis-ease and uneasiness or imbalance in your energy. I lived it for about 40 years. Phew, I'm happy that I don't have to be that way anymore. I can and I have shifted my mindset and energy so much over the last 20 plus years. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm a whole lot better than I used to be. Admittedly, years ago, I used to be a bitch and queen of complaining. I'm still a work in progress, but I'm happier now than I've ever been. I'm so thankful for the shifts I've opened myself up to by aligning with my inner being and receiving ideas for inspired action. And when I do need to carry out a responsible action, I have the tools and techniques to help me shift my energy when needed into being inspired while I'm performing the tasks. Remember, I'm always telling myself first, all this stuff I write to you, I'm in your corner. If you want support with shifting your perspective around responsible action and inspired action, let's talk. Maybe you have indoctrinated beliefs that have created a toxic energy in your life. You may have been indoctrinated to believe that you're only here to serve others and that your wants, desires don't matter, that you need to be quiet and not speak up because you might rock the boat, that your voice doesn't matter, like I experienced. It doesn't matter where or how we're indoctrinated with toxic beliefs. We don't have to keep believing them. We have a choice. Beliefs are only thoughts we keep thinking. When we shift our thinking, we also shift our energy and even our outcomes. Anywho, connect with me in my private Facebook group, Dynamic Thriving Spiritual Community. I've made this private group because I wanted to create a safe space for us to talk freely and be supported and loved on by each other. We all have shitty beliefs we need to release, and sometimes it's really hard. But I've created this group for those of us who have been traumatized by religion, our family, culture, or society, so we can heal together. So, welcome home. To your dynamic thriving in the spirit, this is Mary Ann Pack, your spiritual medium, oracle for the many, and joy advocate.